Our organization came about and came together from many activists in this country who were struggling around the denial of black people's human rights here, against racism here, and against poverty. We've been involved in probably every major struggle that's concerned black people in this country since the 70s in that regard. And we've been very early supporters of the African liberation struggles inside Southern Africa, particularly inside South Africa, Zimbabwe, the former Portuguese colonies, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique. We've tried to participate and be constructive and supportive of not only the liberation of African countries, but also their struggle against neo-colonialism, and also the question of development. We've participated and we have a cooperation agreement with the former Organization of African Unity, currently the African Union, one of the few organizations in the world that has a cooperation agreement directly with the organization. That cooperation agreement deals with education, development, research, and support for crises in Africa. We've participated ongoingly in many of the international conferences that have taken place on the continent, in Addis Ababa at the AU headquarters, and many of the regional conferences. We particularly participated in the World Conference Against Racism. We struggled to make sure that that conference reflected the real interests of African people. We looked at it as Africa's time to say to the world where we were. The United Nations was trying to liquidate the question of racism by saying with the liberation of Southern Africa, racism no longer existed. But of course, we know that that's an untruth. We took almost 400 people to the World Conference Against Racism in Durban, South Africa. And out of that conference, we came back very fired up. And with the declaration that the transatlantic slave trade was in fact a crime against humanity, we then knew that establishing that fact would lay the basis for the criminal activity of European countries against Africans, and therefore laid the basis for reparations. And so coming back from Durban, we organized the first reparations rally in the history of the United States in Washington, D.C. in 2002.